There is no team in the NFL that invents new and creative ways to lose more than these Atlanta Falcons. And we're going to talk about it. But before we get started, I want to tell you guys to hit that subscribe button, like, comment, and share, and tell a friend, tell a family member, tell whoever to support my channel. Yes, the Atlanta Falcons lose yet again to the New England Patriots 24-23. And just as I said in the intro, there is no team in the NFL that invents new ways to lose more than these Atlanta Falcons. And boy, did they falcon it up the other day against the Patriots. I mean, good Lord have mercy. I mean, you can't make this stuff up, man, when it comes to the Atlanta Falcons. Like, you can't make this stuff up. I mean, just invent new ways to lose. And yeah, I mean, if you look at the game, you know, the first half, I'm going to be honest, I thought the Atlanta Falcons got dominated in the first half. And it looked like the Patriots were going to put a number on the Falcons, similar to what the Miami Dolphins did last week. And the score for a moment, it was 21-7. And it looked like the Patriots, because the Patriots offensively, they were doing anything they wanted to do. They were running the ball well. They were throwing the ball well. Defensively, they were able to have some success against the Falcons offense. Just complete domination. And for a while, it looked like the Patriots were going to go up 28-7 or at least 24-7. And then the Falcons, shockingly, they created a turnover. You know, Jalen Walker, you know, gets the sack, forces the fumble. James Pierce picks up the ball, and all of a sudden the Falcons are at the goal line. And then the Falcons, a few plays later, they actually scored a touchdown. Just shout out to Drake London, by the way. Shout out to him. He had a hell of a game. And so the Falcons, and the score ended up being 21-14, and all of a sudden, the Atlanta Falcons have new life. They have a little momentum on their side. And all of a sudden, you look at the game, and it's like, oh, man, the Falcons will get their butts kicked again. They're going to go down 3 touchdowns, and all of a sudden, it's a 7-point game at halftime. And then the second half happens, and the Falcons defense, after struggling for like the most of the first half, they find their footing. They're getting stops. They're creating some pressure on Drake May. The Falcons defense was able to get 6 sacks on Drake May. 6 sacks on Drake May. And they also forced him into 2 turnovers. And so thinking, you know, you get 6 sacks on Drake May and you're able to force 2 turnovers. Typically, that means you win. You win a game if you have that much success. But not these Falcons. Nope. Not these Atlanta Falcons. None of that happens when it comes to the Atlanta Falcons. Just none of it. And so, you know, the defense, I thought, was after struggling in the first half, they were able to get stops. They were able to create pressure. They were able to force some turnovers on Drake May. They create some easier field position for the offense. And, well, I'll get into the offense in a little bit of a moment because there are some things that you kind of like with the offense. And there are some things that make you pull your hair out when it comes to the offense. Specifically, the Falcons offense being 1 for 10 on third down. And, look, I'll get into that. But when you look at this game, man, the game was right there for the Atlanta Falcons to take. And they just failed to get it done. You look at the end of this game. The Falcons are down 24-17 after the defense was bailing them out, getting stops, making things happen for the offense, giving them the chance to win this game. And the Falcons go on a nice little long drive. Drake London had a very good day. He was going at it with the cornerback Christian Gonzalez. He had his wins against Drake London, and Drake London was getting them back. Right? Michael Penix throws that deep bomb to Drake London, and he makes that big catch over Christian Gonzalez, who's one of the best corners in the league for the Patriots, and he makes a big play on that. Christian Gonzalez gets injured. And so that happens, and all of a sudden, eventually, on fourth down, Michael Penix throws a pass in the red zone to Drake London, who catches the ball with one hand, and he scores a touchdown. And all of a sudden, it's 23-24. And you thinking, all right, let's go, Falcons. We got this. We got a chance. All they have to do is make the field goal. And do the Atlanta Falcons make the field goal? John Parker Romo, does he make the field goal? No, he doesn't. The field goal goes right. And you can't make this stuff up, man. You can't make this stuff up. All the Falcons had to do was make the field goal to tie the game. And John Parker Romo just error mails it right. Just goes right. And all of a sudden it's 24-23. The Patriots still leading. I mean, are you kidding me? I mean, like I said, there's no team in the NFL that invents new ways to lose more than these Atlanta Falcons. No, I don't think you can name a team. The Falcons will they'll find some way to let you down and lose. They'll make some magic happen, and that's what they did. And so you missed the field goal, and here's the funny part: when you miss the field goal, like you thinking, man, game's over. Patriots got this, and guess what happened? The Falcons defense gets another stop. They get another stop on the Patriots offense and Drake May. The Falcons have another chance to possibly win the game, to position the team to get in field goal range and steal this game from the Patriots. And all of a sudden, the Falcons offense can't get organized. All of a sudden, I think it was like third down. The Falcons are moving the ball in this third down. I think the Falcons were around like the 50. And all of a sudden, for whatever reason, the plays can't come in. The communication's off between Zach Robinson and Michael Penix, and all of a sudden, I guess Michael Penix wasn't ready for the ball, and all of a sudden Michael Penix ends up slamming the ball down as intentional grounding. And I'm like, oh my God. And all of a sudden the Falcons are losing 20 yards. And all of a sudden, the offense goes nowhere and the Falcons end up punting the ball. And so you're in a position where the Falcons have an opportunity to get in field goal range to possibly get the lead, and all of a sudden you lose negative yardage just because of some intentional grounding penalty, because the communication's off between Zach Robinson and Michael Penix or the offensive lineman. It's just, you can't make this stuff up, man. You just can't. And as a result of that, the Falcons end up punting the ball, and the Patriots end up winning the game. They close the game out. They get a third. They get a 3rd and 5. They get a first down. All of a sudden, game over. And it's just another line of just frustrating defeats when it comes to the Falcons. And this is the Atlanta Falcons in a nutshell. Like, you watch that game, it's the Atlanta Falcons in a nutshell. They're so close, and yet they're so far away. That's the Atlanta Falcons. They're so close to getting over the top and winning some of these games, and yet they're so far away because they're poorly mismanaged. They're poorly coached. They're disorganized. They don't make situational plays. They don't make good decisions on the field or anything organizationally they do outside of the field in their front office and ownership and coaching. And they just lose. Like, this is what the Atlanta Falcons do. They lose. Like I said this last week, and I'm going to say it again today. the Atlanta Falcons should change their slogan to rise up, and they should change it to eat, breathe, sleep, losing, because that's what the Atlanta Falcons do. That should be the new Falcon slogan: eat, sleep, breathe, losing. 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 That should be the new Atlanta Falcons slogan, because they eat, they dream it, they live it, they embrace it. Am I wrong? Tell me I'm wrong. Tell me. The Atlanta Falcons are just they're just addicted to losing. I mean, you can't make this stuff up, man. You can't make this stuff up. And that game against the Patriots is just another string of what in the world did we lose? How we lose that game? And that's what they did. They lose. You know, you look at that performance from Michael Penix. I thought Michael Penix was all right. Like, I thought he did some good. I thought he made some pretty good throws. I thought he made some really wild, inaccurate throws, and a couple of iffy decisions. And I think with Michael Penix, like, I'm still a Michael Penix believer. I'm still am. I believe what Michael Penix is. I believe with Michael Penix, if you can protect him, I think he can make something happen, because he has a big arm. He can make all the throws, and he has that arm talent, and he can make any throw that you want him to make. But when he's not protected, it could get ugly with Michael Penix. You know, the throws could be all over the place, and so to me, I just think with Michael Penix, it's just one of those things, man. And the other thing with Michael Penix for me, Zach Robinson, it bears repeating, but I'm just not a Zach Robinson fan anymore. I'm just not. I don't think he's the guy. Like, everything with Michael Penix is so hard. Like, none of his throws are easy. You know, everything is so difficult for him. And I don't think the coaching staff, specifically Zach Robinson, I don't think he's done a good job of putting Michael Penix in a position to succeed as a quarterback. That's just my opinion. You know, everything is just so difficult for Michael Penix. Everything. And I think he's doing the best he can, but man, everything is so hard for him. And look, he made some pretty nice throws, and he had 3 touchdowns, and he had over 220 yards passing. And so I'm not going to say he was terrible in this game, but everything is just so hard for Michael Penix right now. It's just difficult. And I think the other thing that I've noticed with the Falcons in this game, outside of Drake London, I don't think this team has a good wide receiver. I don't know what's happened with Darnell Mooney. I don't know what happened to him. Last season, he was really good for this team. This season, he's been MIA. He has no chemistry at all with Michael Penix, the way he had at times with Kirk Cousins. And Ray McLeod is cut. He was pretty good last year. He's not on the team anymore for whatever reason. And so I think if this team had a speedster, deep threat wide receiver opposite Drake London, I think Michael Penix's life would be a lot easier. That's just my opinion. Y'all can disagree with me, but this team is lacking speed at the wide receiver position. And it's ironic because you look at the draft capital and assets that this team has been using at skilled position players just such as Drake London, who I say it, he's really good. Drake London's a really good receiver. You know, he's not the deep threat that I would prefer, but he's really good. He's really good. And so you look at Drake London, you look at Kyle Pitts, Bijan, who I still believe is awesome. You know, they signed Darnell Mooney, and like, despite all that, this team still needs a wide receiver. And that's kind of it's pretty damning. to say that. But this team does need another wide receiver. Like, my dream target for the Falcons, I would love for this team to get Jalen Waddle out of Miami. Like, can you imagine Jalen Waddle with Drake London and Bijan and Pitts with Michael Penix? If the Falcons had a guy like a Jalen Waddle from Miami, oh my, I would feel a whole lot different about this offense. And look, I'll be honest, we still need new. I still think we need a new offensive coordinator. So, who knows? But I believe just not having another speedster deep threat wide receiver, I think it's hampering Penix a little bit. I believe it. And I think you watch Michael Penix out there, everything is just so hard on him right now. He's trying to make hard throws, and it feels like he's trying to overcome whatever schematic disadvantage that Zach Robinson is putting Michael Penix through, and it's unfortunate. And so, Michael Penix, man, like it's been up and down. It's been an up and down season for him. Make no mistake about it. But Drake London, shout out to Drake London. Like, I thought Drake London was the player of the game for the Falcons. He was outstanding. 8 catches for over 110 yards, 3 touchdowns. Michael Penix was on it, man. And look, he's not the deep threat speedster that I would love in my wide receiver, but the guy just gets the job done. He gets the job done. He makes tough catches. He can run after the catch. He can make unbelievable one-handed catches. He knows how to get open, and he just makes plays, and he's reliable, and he's tough. And you watch him, and you just feel like he wants it bad. Like, I would go to war with someone like Drake London any day of the week, man. He's a warrior, He's a warrior. Like, he's a guy that gets it out of the mud, man. He'll make the tough catches when you need him to. He'll make the big catches when you need him to. He'll go over the middle. He'll make the sideline diving catches when you need him to. I'm a fan of Drake London, and I thought he was outstanding. And I thought he did everything that he could to keep the Falcons in that game and give him a chance to win. And so, shout out Drake London. Bijan Robinson, it's kind of been a little bit of a slump running the ball. But even despite that, you can still see Bijan's greatness. He's making tough catches. He had a one-handed catch, I think on like 3rd down or something in that game as well. So he's still making plays as a receiver. And so, like I said, man, Bijan and Drake London are giving this team a chance. But this just isn't enough, and it's not enough. You look at that game, I think the difference in that game, if you want to boil down to it, is the Falcons are 1 for 10 on 3rd down. They're 1 for 10 on 3rd down. Like, it's hard to win if you're 1 for 10 on 3rd down. The Falcons only converted 1 3rd down in that game. 1. It's not good enough. And part of it, I think, is on the offensive line. I think part of it is on Zach Robinson not creating easy stuff for Penix. Some of it's on Penix. He's been a little up and down with his throwing, and honestly, I think the receiving talent is kind of lacking on this team. Like, I'm gonna say it again, man. I think this team needs another deep threat at the wide receiver position. This team just doesn't have a lot of speed. The fastest guy is our running back, Bijan, and so, this team just, like I said, man, this team just isn't good enough right now. Like, this just isn't. This team isn't good enough. And, the Patriots they were better. They were a little better when they needed to be. And it's another loss by the Falcons. It's a frustrating loss. As a fan, I don't have much faith that things are going to continue to get better. They got the Colts on Sunday. I think they're in London for that game. They're overseas. So that's going to be a 9:30 a.m. game. And so, man, they got the Colts who lost to the Steelers. And so, the Colts are going to be hungry to get back and get some, for them to bounce back from a loss like that. And so, the Colts are going to be hungry. And the Atlanta Falcons are just the Atlanta Falcons. I mean, I don't know. I just don't know what else to say. You know, this team is not good. And as a Falcon fan, I don't have any confidence. This team is just, they're not good. I don't think they're well coached. And I think this team is kind of flawed, talent-wise, in certain areas. You know, the offensive line, I feel like it's not playing as well now as they did earlier in the year. Obviously, I've rammed off my feelings about Zach Robinson, Raheem Morris. I've been wanting to support him, but I'm borderline out. Like, I don't know about Raheem, man. Like, I want Raheem Morris to do well, but he's probably not. He doesn't seem like he's a good coach. Like, I'm seeing a lot of disorganization with the team. Struggling to get plays in on key downs. I mean, Raheem Morris, man, what's up? What's up, coach? I don't know, man. It's not a good time to be an Atlanta Falcon fan. It just isn't. And I must say this again, man, when it comes to the Atlanta Falcons, man. Like, they should change that. They should change their slogan from rise up to eat, sleep, breathe, losing. Eat, sleep, breathe, losing. Eat, sleep, breathe, losing. Eat, sleep, breathe, losing. Because the Atlanta Falcons do nothing but eat, sleep, breathe, losing. Or I'll just change that. Eat, sleep, breathe, lose. This is what they do, man. That's all I have for today, and I'll catch you guys in the next episode, man. Peace.